Hey, what's up, everybody? On this beautiful Saturday evening, of course, it is happy hour, and we are here to keep people honest, keep their feet to the fire, right? So, this video here, I have to say that what you're going to hear is what I agree with. But the problem is, I think that the progressives had the same power they had now to force the $15 minimum wage that they had to force a vote for Medicare for all. So what is the difference between then and now? Because we have to keep these people honest. Even the people that you agree with, you got to keep them honest. Because Cenk Uyger was not on board with the force a vote for Medicare for all, which I would say is more important than, not even more, it's probably on the same level, but Medicare for all is on a very high level when it comes to the minimum wage. The minimum wage will affect a certain amount of people. Medicare for all will affect so many more people in a positive way. So, but he wasn't with forcing them to do that, but he's for it all now. So see, me, I give people a ramp to come on. So if I'm your supporter or your constituent, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So if you are saying that what I said before was wrong, I wasn't right on that, which I don't think he ever really admitted to that. But now the same tactic that you railed against before, that Cenk Uyger railed against before, you want to use them now. You say that the progressives should use them now. We got to keep them honest. We got to keep them to the fire. But listen to the audio.
You nailed it. So what I was going to say and going further is, having a conversation with Joe about, hey, are you in favor of it? Yeah, oh, you are? Oh, me too. Yeah, great. Is useless. Totally, utterly useless. Like I said, it might be even counterproductive.
It is.
What you use that opportunity for is, yes, Mr. President, but it's really important that you tell me what your plan is. What is your plan for passing it? Well, we'll do, no. Mr. President, I have a constituency, and I'm the head of the Progressive Caucus. I need to know whether you actually have a plan. If you don't have a plan, we're going to have to come up with a plan. And then if it doesn't agree with what you agree with, hey, we'll have to sort that out in public, okay? But we're going to pass this goddamn thing, whether it's our plan or your.
Let's stop there for a second. Remember, force the vote for Medicare for all was a plan. And I think it was a plan of power. Nancy Pelosi only strives off of money and power. If the progressive would have threatened her power, I think they would have got, even if they didn't get a whole lot done then, they would have been taken a lot more seriously now. Because Nancy Pelosi and the establishment would have known that these progressives are not playing. They will vote down these bills if we don't give them something. But if you never fight and never request or demand what you want, you won't get anything. And we knew that then, Cenk. We knew that then. We knew that we're forced to vote. So, continue.
Plan. But you have to show me an actual plan to pass it. Loose talk of, eventual reform of filibuster right before we lose power is not a plan. It's not a plan.
No.
It's not a plan. What John just explained to you, honestly, is more than almost any legislator in Congress. Again, they'll be heartbroken. How dare you? We're above you. You're below us. And you can't question us. Really? Then what is your plan? What is your... Tell me your genius plan. And the reason I say that, guys, is because they don't have one. I'm positive they don't have one. And look at what she said there. Oh, you know, eventually because of the other bills that have to pass, we'll do...
The thing is, even back then, like people like Jimmy Dore and the people who agree with him like myself, we were positive then. And we would have rather your push and the help of you and your followers, Cenk Uyger, to push that then. Because what you're saying now, we already knew then. We got to keep them honest. Continue.
Filibuster reform. That ain't a plan. That ain't a plan at all. A plan is, here's how we're going to flip those 8 Democratic senators. Here's what we're going to do specifically on this piece of legislation. We're going to attach it to another must-pass bill that the Republicans are all going to vote against, and we're going to insist on it, and we're going to insist on it 6 months in advance. So you don't, at the last second, do the same trick you do every single time, including COVID relief.
Let's stop there. The progressives in the Congress wouldn't fight to put $15 minimum wage into a must-pass bill. Understand, the vote to the push to force Nancy Pelosi to put Medicare for all on the House floor for a vote was an easier push than this must-pass bill that everybody is waiting for relief. The latter was an easier fight. So when they caved on that and wouldn't even force that, we should have known that they weren't going to fight now. This is a harder fight now. They should have put up the fight then to make this fight now easier. Let's continue.
Blocking it would delay the passage of this important bill, and then progressives would be responsible for the delay, and it would be your fault. No, I'm telling you right now, 6 months in advance, we're going to block that bill, and we're going to put minimum wage, and it's going to be in the bill, and we're not going to have a conversation about it. Okay, now what are you going to do? That's a plan. It is specific to a piece of legislation that actually has a chance of passing.
It is a plan.
And it uses your power. Tea and crumpets at the White House is irrelevant.
Yes.
Totally, utterly
That's
irrelevant.
exactly.
When I hear that piece of... Look,
That's exactly what we were saying before. That's exactly like people like Jimmy Dore were saying before. Tea and crumpets is being nice. Putting pressure on top of their heads is the only way. Excuse me. That you are going to get their attention. Because if these folks are careerists, well, guess what? We will threaten to end your career if you don't fight. How about that? So, and let's be clear. It's not like fighting for $15 minimum wage, which the majority of Republicans, Democrats, Independents, everybody across the country agree with. There's no political downfall for you pushing for that. Unbelievable. Let's go.
Get it. Jayapal is not telling you every part of the conversation that she had with Biden. And I know some of you probably, and I love you for being this wonderfully naive because you're a good person.
Nobody's naive. We already knew, sir.
They're really smart, legislators, and they're in power. They must be really great. They probably did come up with a plan. They just don't want to share it with you.
Maybe you guys were like,
these legislators.
We already knew
for decades now. And in this particular situation, just recently, with many of them, there is no plan. They're not secret geniuses. They're uncomfortable. making a demand. And we've known forever and ever, power never concedes without a demand. But it would be rude. It would be rude.
Demand.
I would feel personally uncomfortable. Well, now
you have to have a demand.
And you could hate me for the rest of the time. I don't care. The only thing I care about is pass the goddamn bill. If you don't pass the bill in these 2 years, it will be a remarkable record of failure. That's the reality.
There it is. You are absolutely right, sir. It would be a remarkable failure of the progressives to not pass $15 minimum wage. By the time, if it ever is passed, is not even going to be a living wage, because cost is going to be even higher at that point. The cost of living is going to be higher at that point. So if you can't do the bare minimum in your time as power, that means you have done nothing. You're doing the same thing that these corrupt establishment Republicans too, and Democrats are doing. If you're a progressive, you're doing the same thing. So why should we're not into the same game anymore. You're not going to be able to make yourself a careerist anymore, because the days have changed. People are going to hold you to the fire immediately. And I think the time is now. You have to. There is no other choice. We don't have a lot of time. We don't have years and years to let everything that the American people need to survive to dissolve. We don't have that type of time. So now is the time. Let continue. Let him continue.
You can shoot the messenger all you want. It doesn't matter. If they finish the 2 years and they haven't done the bare minimum of passing $13 minimum wage, it's going to be, history will write it down as a giant failure of not just the Biden administration, because they didn't actually want it. It will be a giant failure of progressives in Congress. And here, I'll tell you one other thing ahead of time. Guys, you think we're born yesterday? Maybe the legislators are. I don't know, but we're not. They're going to...
Of course, we're not born yesterday. And that's what we were saying before. Just think about this. If the progressives never use their power to get what they say that they are for, that means, just like he said, they are an epic failure and they are a fraud. Like people were already saying, like Jimmy Dore. He got flack for saying it, but it's coming down to the wire now. These folks are either going to prove fighters for the people, or are they going to be proving to be frauds? Complete frauds. Continue.
Say, oh, the minimum wage, we're going to do it. I'll tell you, we're going to do it. $11. Hear me now, quote me later. They're not going to do $15. They're going to do $11. We already know it. Manchin already said it. Manchin is president. Joe Biden agrees with Manchin on everything. He just uses it as a foil. When Manchin says $11, that's Biden saying $11. So
I want to just say that, too. What a weak, feckless, old, decrepit piece of... I guess I won't go that far with Biden. But he is. Biden is the author of the crime bill. He is the author of the bankruptcy bill, where students right now, if you have student debt loan, you can't bankrupt that and get that off of your back so you can start over, just like all of these people, like scumbags like Donald Trump can do. That's who Joe Biden is. And this old decrepit fuck comes into power and concedes his presidency to a fucking Joe Manchin. Even for your own fucking ego, wouldn't you want to be the guy who is the one they have to come to see whether they're going to pass a bill? you should have made Joe Manchin bend his knee by putting pressure on him for things like the $15 minimum wage that is popular in West Virginia. That's all Joe Biden had to do. But just like he said, Joe Manchin is the president now. Because Joe Biden is a weak, feeble, feckless fuck. Here we go.
I'm in the meeting with Biden, and he says, oh, yeah, generally, vaguely, we'll do it later. I say, wait, 11 or 15? Because if you go a penny under 15, I'm going to come for you, okay? And we're going to vote no on all your goddamn bills. But progressives would never do that. It's so rude and not nice.
Exactly.
Well, we need a leader that's willing to fight for us. On this issue, it's literally called...
Let's stop there, because we have to keep it honest. Because like I said, I support the Young Turks. I like the Young Turks, and I like Jimmy Dore as well. But Jimmy Dore said that same shit that you just said back in other videos, sir. He said the same thing. But you wasn't for it then. The same fucking thing he said. Let's keep them honest. Continue.
Fight for 15. It's not called plead for 15, have pleasant conversations for 15, beseech the parliamentarian for 15. It's called fight for 15.
Exactly.
So we'd love to see that fight. Still to this day, the
and
honest
we can also
reality
call it
is
fight for Medicare.
No fight at all
too,
for progressives. And I'm not putting it all on the House, by the way. The Senate, including Bernie Sanders, too. He keeps saying, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Really? Intent doesn't solve it. It has to be intent with execution. What is your strategy? What is your plan? I've never seen one, and it doesn't exist.
We're going to stop there. We haven't seen one, and we did not see one far back at this point, sir. You are late to the ship. The real progressives, and I'm not saying that he's not a real progressive, but apparently you were running shade for these folks back when it's time when people like Jimmy Dore were putting pressure on them to do what they did. So I'm here to keep them honest. I'm here to keep the side that I agree with honest. And some of the biggest platforms are these folks. So let's be clear that these folks who, and I've done gave money to the Young Turks. So let's be clear that these folks are actually pushing for progressive priorities as I give my money to you. Tell me what you think. We have to keep them honest, and we have to keep their feet to the fire. Like, don't like. I still want to know what you feel. If you like this content, share it. Ask these questions. Hey, listen. We have to keep them honest.